Hi, it's Sylvester, and I'm going to be talking about how I was treated before I came out as a trans man, because men were kind of creepy and kind of awful in some instances, so let's talk about that. First of all, I am going to be reading some things off the screen because I wrote down everything that I wanted to say in this video, so if it looks like I'm reading and not looking at the camera, that's because I am. I'm sorry, I know that's distracting for some people, but it is what it is. First of all, content warning. This video contains talk of sexual assault, sexual harassment, rape, men being generally creepy towards someone who they thought was a woman, and one extremely unsettling incident involving children. I guess also I'm going to be talking about kidnapping and torture and abuse. I forgot to write that down, but yeah, just content warning all around. There's some pretty messed up stuff that I'm going to be talking about here. Let's start off with that extremely unsettling incident involving children that I mentioned there in the content warning. This happened, I was probably around 10 years old. I was at a friend's house and they had a babysitter there. And the babysitter put the movie 13 on for us, which if you've never heard of the movie 13, it's starring Evan Rachel Wood, and it's a movie that is certainly not appropriate for 13-year-olds and certainly not appropriate for anybody under the age of 13. The movie came out in 2003, so I'm thinking I was probably around 10 years old when this happened. And again, this movie was extremely inappropriate for children. It's about some 13-year-old girls who start doing drugs and becoming sexually active, and again, just not a movie for children. So the babysitter put that movie on for us, and then at one point, as I'm watching the movie, I look over to the babysitter. He's sitting in the corner of the room because there's a computer in the corner of the room, and he's looking at pornography. Again, he was babysitting children, looking at pornography in the same room as these children. And when I say pornography, it was nothing like super hardcore. It was just like what I saw was a naked lady, and it was a cartoon naked lady. But still, that still counts as pornography. So that was pretty creepy. And I know that a lot of young girls have experienced a lot worse than that. So I am very grateful that that's probably the creepiest man that I encountered as a child. So moving on. There's the big one that I talk about all the time, which is that I was kidnapped by a man when I was 19 years old. He kidnapped me because he thought that I was a girl. He would not have kidnapped me if he had known that I was a man. He saw me as property. He threatened me, he intimidated me, he was physically and sexually abusive, and he psychologically tortured me. It was just a really horrible, horrible thing to have happened. And again, I'm pretty sure it would not have happened had this man known that I was a man. So, pretty fucked up. Next, I was sexually assaulted by a man when I was on a date with him. We were in the car, and he jumped on top of me and then started grabbing my breasts and playing with my breasts, and he pulled them out of my shirt, and I didn't push him off of me, but I told him very firmly to get off of me. And then the messed up thing is he apologized, but he still tried to pressure me to go home with him, and I was like, no way, not after that. Yikes. Then there's one time I was actually pressured by a man to take my clothes off for him. He guilted me, and he just wouldn't stop asking, and he just pressured me into it, so I did it. But I kept telling him over and over and over again, I don't want to have sex, I'm not going to have sex with you. But then he forcefully got on top of me and put it in me anyways. So that was rape. That was fun. Hopefully you know that I'm being sarcastic when I say that was fun. Obviously, that was not fun. When I was around 16 years old, and I told this in a story recently talking about going to Fan Expo, when I was around 16, there was a man who was probably in his 30s, and he tried to hit on me, which was very creepy. And I know there's a lot of teen girls who have been hit on by old men, and I'm lucky that that's the only instance that I can think of where that happened to me. So again, a lot of girls have gone through a lot worse. Next, I was at work one time, and I was cornered by a coworker in an isolated area, and he started heavily hitting on me, being very creepy, and then he tried to convince me to run off to Florida with him. And all I have to say about that is Florida, if you're trying to convince somebody to run away with you, don't say you're going to Florida. Of all freaking places, Florida. Who wants to go to Florida? Freaking Florida, really? I'm sorry, it wasn't funny. It was very uncomfortable, and I reported it to my bosses, and they said, oh yeah, that guy does that all the time. He does that to all the girls. And it was but you just let him? he's like sexually harassing me in my place of work, and you're just gonna let this happen. He does it to everyone, and you're just gonna let it happen. But like, whatever. Anyways, one time I was walking down the street and a car full of men pulled over and offered to take me to a party, so that was kind of creepy. One time I was walking down the street and a man came up to me and tried to convince me to run away with him to Jamaica, so, better than Florida at least. At one point, I shared a living space with some men that I didn't know, and one of the men was really creepy. He would always flirt with me, and I was just, like, trying to put out vibes of, like, I'm not interested. This is where I live. I don't want to be aggressively hit on in my own home. This is not okay. But I didn't say that. I just, like, aggressively tried to give him the vibes that I was not interested. And then at one point he started going on and on about how he likes fat chicks. He's super into fat chicks, and I was plus size, so he was clearly trying to tell me that, like, I'm into you. Just because you're fat doesn't mean I don't want you, which just, that's just, But the way I handled that was I was like, oh, I'm into fat chicks too. Like, fat chicks are the best. They got the big boobs and they got the big butt, and like, the best parts of a woman are made out of fat. And I was just like, and I just like went aggressively lesbian on him basically, and he got really pissed off because he could tell that I was like rejecting him. I wasn't picking up what he was putting down. I wasn't receptive to his flirtations, and so he got mad that I was essentially rejecting him, and he just like turned around and walked away as I was mid-conversation. As I was talking to him, he just walked away because so clearly he was not interested in having a conversation with me as a human being. He wasn't interested in being my friend or seeing me as anything but a sexual object. So anyways, another dude that I lived with, this isn't like sexual harassment or anything, but it just was kind of creepy. At that place where I lived with a bunch of strangers, this other guy who lived there tried to gaslight me into thinking that I had ran into him the other night. He's like, oh yeah, we ran into each other and you were like super drunk. You were like really wasted. And I'm like, that didn't happen. Legit, that never happened. And he's like, no, it definitely happened. It was you. Like, I know you're embarrassed, but it was you. And I'm just like, why are you trying to gaslight me? That was just kind of weird. When I would sign up for dating sites, online dating sites, I would get a lot of people sexually harassing me, just saying very inappropriate and oftentimes very sexual things to me, and that was just, and clearly just objectifying me, and it was just very unpleasant. That's why I didn't do a whole lot of online dating. I got one unsolicited dick pic. Again, I'm pretty lucky for somebody who presented as a girl for many, many years. I only received one unsolicited dick pic. So, a lot of girls have it a lot worse. A lot of girls get a lot of unsolicited dick pics. And in fact, one time after I came out as trans, there was this 18-year-old girl that I was friends with on Instagram, or that we followed each other on Instagram, and she started talking to me, and we became friends, even though like it was like I was too old to be friends with an 18-year-old. But I was just like kind of. We talked anyways, so like, this sounds weird. This makes me sound like I'm creepy, but I swear it wasn't creepy. It was just totally chill. She just wanted to be my friend. And then so one day she asked me if I wanted to go live with her on Instagram, and I was like, okay, sure, why not, and so we went live together, and then other people would watch the live stream and want to join the stream with us. They wanted to go live with us, and so she would accept their requests, and like, she got so many penises, like people would be like, can I join? And then she'd allow them to join, and it was just persons showing their penis to her, and it's just like, this is a freaking, I got so protective of her. I got like so she handled it really well, but I was just sitting there just like, dude, these guys are so freaking predatory. Like, this is an 18-year-old girl, and you're just showing her your penis. Like, why? Why do you do that? People with penises, why do you do that? Like, it's just so fucked up. Anyways, so like, and then there was this one guy, he like went live with us, and he was just aggressively hitting on her, and I thought he was making her uncomfortable, so I kept being like, hi, I'm here, hey, reminder, I'm here. Are you gonna compliment me? Are you gonna tell me that I have nice eyes? Like, I'm here too. And he just kept ignoring me and just aggressively hitting on her, and I was just like, God, I don't know how she put up with that. Like, I thought I had it bad when I thought that I was a girl, but like, she well, it was on another level. The men, the way they treated this girl, like, geez Louise. Anyways, next, one time my coworker came up to me. I think that this is sexual harassment. It's just creepy behavior no matter what. But I was at work and there was this new coworker. And one of the first things he did, one of the first interactions that I had with this guy is that he came up to me and he's like, hey, look at this. And he showed me his phone and it was just a naked woman. And he's like, that's my ex-girlfriend. She cheated on me. And then he just proceeded to go off and show like everybody in the restaurant a picture of his naked ex-girlfriend. And like, can you imagine being that ex-girlfriend? Could you imagine knowing that your ex is just showing naked pictures of you to everybody he meets? Like, that's so degrading. That's so fucked up. I don't care if she cheated on you. Like, that's fucked up behavior. Next, my uncle hit on me at a wedding one time, which was really uncomfortable. That definitely stuck with me. I had a YouTube channel before I transitioned, and men would often leave inappropriate comments. Oftentimes, they would comment on my body in inappropriate ways, so that was fun. I'm pretty sure I got roofied once at a club. I might make an entire video talking about the week that I spent in Montreal, because there were several creepy dudes that I'm about to talk about during that week. But this was one instance where I was at a bar, and I had like 2 drinks. Like, I barely drank at all. But I must have left one of my drinks unattended, because I'm pretty sure I got roofied or drugged in some way, because I just started feeling so sick. I went to the bathroom and I just threw up a lot, and then I passed out on the bathroom floor for hours. I was woken up by a security guard at like 2 a.m. after the bar had closed. It was probably more like 3 a.m. because there was nobody in the bar. Everybody was gone. It was just me lying on the bathroom floor, passed out, and I was woken up by a security guard, told that I had to leave. And like I said, I'm pretty sure I got roofied. Like, I have no proof, but I'm pretty freaking sure. And when that happened, my friends abandoned me. Like, you know, I just woke up in the bar and my friends were gone. And we were in a foreign city, so I didn't really know if I could find my way back to the hotel. And my friends had my purse, so they had my phone, they had my debit card, they had everything. So I was just like completely screwed. And so I was like stumbling home, trying to find my way back to the hotel, and this creepy dude just comes up to me and is like, hey, can I walk you home? And it's just like so predatory, because I was clearly very inebriated. I mean, I wasn't that drunk. Like I said, I only had a couple drinks, but like I was clearly under the influence of something, you know? So this like pretty young, I was 18 years old, so I was like this pretty young girl, or what he thought was a girl, stumbling down the street, and he's like, oh, that's my chance to get laid. Like, that is so predatory. I could not have consented at that time, because I was clearly under the influence of something. But he tries to walk me home, or he does walk me back to the hotel. I find my way back to the hotel, thank God. And then he tries to get me to do sexual things with him. And again, I could not have consented in that moment. And he was sober, and I super was not. So that was super not okay. Then, during that same trip that we were on to Montreal, I was at a club, and this dude was being like really, like he was clinging, he was really clingy, and he was like grinding on me and stuff. And so I went to the bathroom to get away from him, because he was just creeping me out. He wouldn't leave me alone. And then he comes into the bathroom, because it was non-gendered bathrooms, so even though I thought I was a girl at the time, he was still able to go into the same bathroom as me. And so he like figures out which stall I'm in, starts banging on the door of the stall, and he's like, hey, it's me, let me in. And he's like reaching under the stall, trying to like reach over the stall, and I'm just like cowering in the corner, like, leave me alone. Like, I don't want to dance with you or anything, just like leave me alone. And I don't know if somebody else in the bathroom saw what he was doing and kicked him out, or if he just gave up. But eventually he left, and then I went and found my friends, and I was really shaken up, and I was like, we're going back to the hotel. Like, we're leaving. I don't care. We're leaving. Like, I was really shaken up. I, like, went home and cried, because it was really scary. I don't know what he was planning on doing to me if I let him into that stall. Like, I don't know if he was planning on assaulting me or raping me or what, but he just would not take no for an answer, and it was just very, very unsettling. Oftentimes I would go to clubs. I mean, I didn't go to clubs that often, but sometimes I'd go to the club, and I like dancing. So I'd immediately hit the dance floor, and I'd start grooving, having a good time. But like as soon as I hit the dance floor, some dude would just be on me, grinding on me, just all over me. Like I could not dance at a club. I could not go to the dance floor without a man immediately just invading my personal space. And it was just very annoying because it's like, I just want to dance. Can't I just freaking dance? There was only one time I could think of where I went to a club and I was actually allowed to dance. They had a stage, and I went onto the stage and I started dancing, and nobody came up and started grinding on me. Nobody came up and started touching on me. I was just dancing on the stage, and then when I was done, I actually got applause. People actually applauded me. That was like one of the proudest moments of my life, honestly. But yeah, it really sucked that I couldn't dance without being touched by people. Like it was just like me dancing at a club was an invitation to like come touch me, and it's like it's not. If you see a girl dancing at the club, don't just start touching her without her consent. Just don't do it, okay? Just don't do it. Leave her alone. Like, ask her if she wants to dance with you. Like, just go up to her and be like, hey, can we dance together? Or like something like that. Just like get consent. Don't just go up and start grinding on her. It's just super creepy. And yeah, anyways. Next, my best friend, and I've spoken about him I have a whole video dedicated to this guy. It was a very toxic friendship, and he wasn't a man, he was a non-binary, but I'm including him in this list anyways, because why not? I don't know. I don't know. He was always trying to get in my pants, and like he never like actually made a move on me, but he was constantly just like strongly hinting at the fact that he really wanted to sleep with me, and I was always strongly hinting that I didn't want to sleep with him, and I was really offended that he just wouldn't lay off, and he just kept trying to get in my pants because he was my best friend, and he knew that I had been sexually abused, and so like the last thing I wanted was to have a friend who was just aggressively trying to get into my pants. Like that really triggered me, it really upset me, and when I would when he would try to have sex with me and I would hint at him that I wasn't interested, it would piss him off, and then he'd pick fights with me because he was just trying to get back at me for not wanting to sleep with him. Like, anyways, it was just real toxic and real creepy behavior. Just like no means no, you know what I mean? Like just get the hint. If somebody is like sending you hints that they really don't want to have sex with you, just like don't try to change their mind, and don't be an asshole about it and like try to fucking pick a fight with them just because you're mad that you got rejected. Just like handle it like a man. Like a freaking adult, and just be like, all right, this person doesn't want to have sex with me. End of story. Just leave it at that. You know what I mean? And then the last thing I have to say is not that bad, but there was this guy who used to live in my building, and every time I saw him, he would be really, like, aggressively hitting on me, and he would call me my dove. He'd be like, hello, my dove. And it was just, like, very weird, and it just made me very uncomfortable. And then one day on Christmas, I don't remember if it was Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, but it was Christmas, and I get a knock on my door, and this guy is just like at my door, just like, hey, can I come in? And I'm like, no, I don't know you. You're like, I'm constantly trying to hit on me, and I'm constantly like not receptive to it. So like, why do you think that it's appropriate to just show up at my freaking door and asked to come in? Like, it was just very forward of him, and it just really took me by surprise, because I'm like, who has the audacity to do that? Like, I would never just go to somebody's place that I don't know and just, like, knock on their door and be like, let's hang out. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm socially awkward and I'm an introvert and I just don't have confidence to do that, but, like, it's just... Where does he get the confidence? Like, like, oh yeah, that guy just kind of creeped me out. And then a couple months ago, I was at Tim Hortons, and I hear somebody say, "Hey, do you still live at?" And then he said my address, and it freaked me out. I got so fucking panicked. I was like, "Oh my god, how does this person know where I live?" And so I was like, yeah, which I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have confirmed to this random person that that's where I lived. I should have been like, maybe, or like, it's none of your business, or like, like, I don't know. I should have said yes, but I didn't know what to do, so I was just like, yeah. And then he's like, it's me. And I'm like, oh, and I recognize his voice. And I'm like, oh, it's that guy who used to aggressively hit on me all the time and make me feel really uncomfortable. And the guy who showed up at my house on Christmas, that guy. So he still remembers me, apparently, and he still knows where I live. So a little bit weird. Anyways, that's all. And like, I'm surprised that he recognized me, because back then I thought I was a girl and I appeared to be, I presented as a girl, and then I transitioned since the last time he saw me. So like, I'm surprised that he saw me and recognized me from before my transition. So like, this guy clearly still remembers me, and that makes me a little uncomfortable. But anyways, he doesn't live in my building anymore, so it's fine. I'm sure it's fine. He's probably harmless, just a little bit creepy. So anyways, that is all. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Stay frosty. Bye.